Hello, it's Rachel from 7 and All, and today I am sharing my July homeschool and life recap. And feel free to let me know in the comments, how did July go for you? Were you doing school this month, or were you just fully taking the month off? For us, we were not taking the month off from homeschool necessarily, but we also did a lot less schoolwork than usual in our normal routine. We did less schoolwork in July than we did in June, which makes a lot of sense because my husband was actually working most of June and then he was off most of July for his summer break. He is a teacher. He has now, just at the end of July, gone back to work, back to his normal schedule, which also gets us back into our full normal schedule. So we did have quite a few days when my husband was taking the boys out to different kind of outings, just having some summer fun. But then on days when we were just staying home, we continued with school as usual. And we're starting the school year at the official school year starting time, according to the school my husband works for. We're starting out the school year with at least 5 weeks done in the new levels of our subjects, because we just started new levels whenever it was time, whenever we'd finished the old level. Some things like our Around the World study and Gentle and Classical Preschool, some of those we started earlier and we've done those for several months already. But then some of our subjects like our Math with Confidence and All About Reading, we've probably done about 5 solid weeks of schoolwork in these over the summer. And I'm really happy with getting that much done during a summer spent at home. I feel like that leaves us in a really good place for starting out the school year with a little bit of a head start. I don't know yet whether or not we will be doing any traveling next summer. I think that's a decision we will make a lot closer to next summer. One surprise I wanted to mention from All About Reading Level 2, and maybe this just surprised me because I'm more used to the more old-fashioned phonics programs, is that fairly early on, maybe lesson 10, I think it is. Lesson 10, you start learning how to read words like silent, broken, hero, pretend. 2-syllable words where at least one of the syllables is actually an open syllable and has a long vowel. And in a lot of these words, you have one open syllable and one closed syllable. So you have a long vowel and a short vowel in the same word. To me, coming from more old-fashioned phonics programs, this feels like a pretty challenging and advanced concept. So I was a little bit surprised that they introduced these types of words before they introduce anything like the R, or syllables, R, or sounds, or the silent E, which to me seems a little bit more just simple and straightforward. So I was a little bit surprised that they're introducing these words already. I would say it's going okay with my son. It's not going like instantly, I know how to decode and read all of these words. Like, it's taking reminders of how to break apart the words, where to break them apart, remember which one has a long vowel, which one has a short vowel. But it is going okay, like he's handling it. But I think we will probably, it's gonna take, like, it's not something that he's mastering, on day 1 or on day 2. But I'm also not worried about it because I look at this concept and I'm like, yeah, that's a challenging concept. So if it's something that I do have to continue to remind him about the techniques for decoding these words for weeks to come, I'm totally comfortable with that. And I don't necessarily feel like we need to stop here before he can totally master it, because I know I looked ahead and I saw that some of the upcoming concepts are actually quite a bit, to me, simpler. We are going to learn those vowel and R sounds and the silent E and things that are a little bit more straightforward. So that's where we're going in reading, and I actually have some kind of sad news. It's not fully sad. I don't want to be over dramatic. But some news as we're going into August. There's actually going to be a big change in our family's homeschool, which is that we are going to be saying goodbye to my sister, who is in high school, kind of starting out her last year of high school, actually. And in August, she is going to be moving to China, and she's going to spend the next school year living with my sister who lives and works in China and being a nanny to our 2-year-old nephew who lives there. So my sister who lives in China is going to be going back to work full-time. Her husband also works full-time, and they had been hoping for a while that it would work out to be able to bring my little sister there. So for a couple of reasons, so that she can have the experience of living there, so she can have some good language learning experience, and also so that they can have a nanny from their family to take care of their little boy. So this has been something that's slowly been being worked on, but we didn't really know if it was going to happen. Now it is happening, and I think all of us who are here are now facing the prospect of saying goodbye are just like, we are really, really gonna miss her. To lose her just amazing presence, her amazing self here. You know, I'm really happy for my sister in China. I'm happy for my nephew and my brother-in-law that they're gonna get to spend this year with her. But we're sad for all of us who have to say goodbye. And it's also like, it is gonna be a challenge for my sister who has grown up in one place her whole life. She actually had a very different life than I did. I moved around a lot as a child and as a teen, but she's lived in the same city her whole life. And she's having to say goodbye to her home for a while. And also with the age that she is, being in 12th grade, we don't know what the future holds for her, but it's potentially kind of a almost permanent goodbye to living with your parents and in your childhood home if you spend your last year of high school away from home. And then what's after that? College, adult life. And who knows what the future holds for her, but you don't go back like to being a kid again. So I am trying not to get too overly emotional about this, but you can tell I'm struggling a little bit just at the thought. I'm happy for her. I think that this will be a good opportunity. She'll gain a lot of skills from working as a nanny. She'll gain a lot of skills from being able to have this job during her last year and experience life in a different country. But it will be a big, big change to be without her. Now, as for her educational plans, the plan is she will be bringing schoolwork along with her in her suitcase. It'll probably be pared down a little bit to really focusing just in core subjects. This is a girl who's already very highly loaded with high school credits. I have absolutely zero doubts about her level of preparation for college. She is gonna kill it. Like, she is over-prepared for pretty much any freshman college expectations. So I'm not worried about that at all, but she will be bringing her like chemistry, calculus, her sunlight, what portion of it she can fit and bring with her, and just working on doing her schoolwork in the quiet moments as she's also taking care of a 2-year-old. So she'll be blending that, still doing her schoolwork. There's also a plan for her to get a regular Mandarin Chinese tutor so that during this year of living there, she will be able to get really good language instruction. And I think that would be really fantastic. That would be something I'd be super happy for her to have. So those are the kind of main plans for academics. So she'll mostly be on her own, but it is expected that probably my mom will do some Zoom calls with her if she gets to some tricky points in calculus or chemistry. And she can also be sending in any papers or essays to me so that I can put my notes on them, give her feedback on what she's writing. So there will be some interaction. Also, my sister who is there is an AP economics teacher. So she's thinking of giving her a DIY AP economics class while she's there. We'll see if that works out. So we have plenty of grand plans for her. She's continuing her education, but also going to be having a pretty busy job taking care of an active 2-year-old boy. And this will be a big change. It will be a big adjustment for all of us who are left behind. It'll be a really big adjustment for my mom, and also for us and for my little boys who have known my sister their whole lives. And then as for what she does next, that's actually still really uncertain. We have looked into some local college options, or we are maybe looking into some distance learning options to give her the opportunity to stay home with my mom and dad potentially longer. but we also don't know if any of those will be a good fit. All of the rest of my siblings have gone to the US once it was time for college, so she very likely could end up doing that. We're also not 100% sure of a degree plan. I've recently suggested studying accounting. She's really mathematically minded, very analytical. I feel like that could be a potential option, but probably something in some type of mathematics related field is the thought right now. So that's my biggest change, which did not happen this month, but it's going to be happening in early August. So we are preparing our hearts for it and just preparing practically for the big change that will be. Then as far as other life updates, I have reached the 20-week milestone in my pregnancy. So kind of the halfway point. And I did share on Instagram, we found out that we are expecting a boy. We have chosen a name. I am not going to be sharing the name yet, but I'm not going to share the video of this, but I just thought that the way we did the reveal was really cool, and it was all thanks to my husband. It was all his idea, so I can take no credit for it, but we were trying to think of a way to reveal that we'd found out we were having a boy and what his name was to my parents and my sisters, and my husband's idea was that we would write down all the letters for first, middle, and last name, all on different slips of paper, because my family really loves puzzles, and give them basically a puzzle to solve, that they have all these letters and they have to rearrange them to make the first, middle, and last name. So our last name's really long, so that just adds kind of a lot of letters, but also they know our last name. So that's kind of an easy gimme. So first they put together the last name, and then they have all the letters for the first and middle names. And I was taking a video, and it was hilarious to watch them, because at first, basically, they just keep putting together words that I'm like, these are not even names, like they're invented names. So at some point I gave them a clue. Guys, like, try to make names that actually exist. And then once I gave them that clue, that really helps them. And they put together the name. And so once they found out the name, they also found out the gender from the name, because it's not a gender neutral name. It's definitely pretty obvious. And at first my mom was also trying to put together some girl names, try to form some girl names out of the letters, but they did find the name in the end, and it was very exciting. And yes, this is actually going to be my parents' 5th grandson. So we have a lot of jokes. You know, I'm one of 7 sisters, so we're just like the next generation is kind of evening out the score a little bit. I grew up in an all-girl family, and now this whole next generation so far is just a whole lot of little boys, and it's very fun, sometimes tiring, and an adventure. As far as how I'm feeling, I definitely am feeling better than the first trimester. You can probably tell I've been doing a few more videos. I still have some quite rough days with nausea and tiredness. I've kind of discovered the main triggers for nausea are 1, heat, and 2, hunger, which heat is really hard to avoid when you live in the tropics. But you know, there are times when if I'm feeling too bad, I'll just go in my bedroom, because our bedrooms do have aircon, and just lay down in the aircon for a little while to kind of get my body to calm down. And also hunger can be a little bit hard to manage when proteins, man, proteins are just so hard to actually tolerate right now. And proteins are, you know, kind of the thing that keeps you not hungry. So if I can avoid the heat and the hunger, I'm feeling pretty good. But if I don't really stay on top of managing those, I really don't feel very well. So I feel like many people can probably relate to those same things, heat and hunger. That's a really common issue with causing nausea. But I'm so thankful for every day and every week. I'm really happy that it's like, okay, 20 weeks, you know, we've made it a lot farther. We're closer now than when we first began. So thankful. I pray for this baby every day, and show gratitude every day. I love to hear how my boys pray for him, and all of their excitement for their little brother, and their plans for him. They have many plans. So that is my update for this month, and thank you so much for watching my channel. I will continue to be sharing nerdy homeschool videos, and hope to be back at the end of August with our August update, which will be a normal school month without school holiday and all of that interrupting it. All right, I'll be seeing you. Bye.